Against all odds, that's our story. 10 years ago, they thought we'd never make it. 5 years ago, they thought our company would never last. 3 years ago, they started paying attention, and now we're right where we belong, in your hands. This is a story about love, about passion, and hard work. Believe in your dreams because you can accomplish anything if you pursue it. So we want to take you on this journey to show you the love, the art form, and the culture of cigar making. There's many out there that are trying to put the cigar industry out of business. Anti-smoking laws, high taxation, but really, truly, this is an art form that has transcended over generations. The amount of work that goes into making cigars, 300 different hands touch the tobacco along the way. By the time you plant a seedling in the ground to the time you get a cigar in the box is almost 4 to 5 years. From the farm, the curing, the fermentation, the construction, the quality control, making boxes, putting bands on, cellophane, everything's done by hand. It truly takes a lot of work and a lot of love. And we're proud to be able to share our cigars with you because I promise you, nobody's going to work harder to make a better cigar than we do. This is our family. Come share our journey, come with us, and enjoy the great pleasures of life. Truly wonderful cigars. And I promise you, when you light up a Rocky Patel Premium cigar, it's going to deliver everything that you asked for. Come on in, and let's take a walk. Welcome to heaven. This is where it all starts. Beautiful sun-grown tobacco. As we know, there are two types of tobacco. There's shade-grown tobacco and sun-grown tobacco. Shade-grown is grown under cheesecloth. It blocks out about 65% of the ultraviolet rays, and the plants get up to about 8.5, 9 feet tall. You get very thin, light tobacco, usually best used for wrapper. Sun-grown tobacco delivers the flavor, the character, the richness, all the flavor that you need in a great cigar. Every single farm is measured for soil samples. We actually make sure that we have the right amount of magnesium, potassium, boron, nitrogen, so that the plants are healthy. And when you get a healthy plant and you actually take it to the curing barn and the proper fermentation, then the rollers get a chance to make a wonderful cigar with a great blend. This is where the birthplace of tobacco all begins, the nursery. Here, under beautiful shade, you have all these seedlings that are growing. Each one of these little squares has these seeds that have been transplanted. You usually have 5 or 6 germinations per square. Hard labor, meticulous work, they'll pull out all the germinations and only leave the healthy plant there. It will take about 45 days for the plant to grow. Once the plant has been grown, it will then be transplanted into the farms. So this is important, a lot of care, just like taking care of a young child. Birthplace of tobacco, healthy nursery, healthy farm. So after 45 days of tender, loving care and a lot of nurturing, finally we have beautiful, healthy tobacco plants. They're ready to be transplanted into the field. The way you can tell the tobacco is ready is you see the beautiful root system, and the tobacco plant has completely gotten hold and surrounded the soil. Before the plant is transplanted in the fields, there's one final process. We actually shock these leaves. Take a lawnmower, the lawnmower just slices through the top layers of the leaf, and that shocks the plant. It makes it fight, it makes it stronger, so when it goes out in the sunlight, it's fighting and it's ready to go. Look at this gorgeous little plant. This little baby is going to mature into a 5.5, 6 foot tall, gorgeous tobacco plant. Now we're examining a nice healthy plant. A normal sun-grown tobacco plant is usually broken down into 3 sections. The top of the tobacco plant has the heaviest leaves and texture, and it also delivers the most flavor and character in a cigar. The top third section is called ligero.
The middle third of the tobacco plant is more medium-bodied in texture and also medium-bodied in flavor. That part is called viso. The bottom of the tobacco plant, which has the thinnest leaves, also has the lightest character of tobacco and is called seco. So in order for us to make a perfect, consistent cigar, I break down the plant into characteristics that are more defined. I break the plant down into what we consider primings. Hence, starting at the bottom of the plant, what I would do before these leaves would be harvested, I would call this the first priming. These two leaves would be the second priming, third priming, fourth priming, fifth priming, sixth priming, seventh priming, and ultimately the eighth priming. So when I'm making a blend, I'll say I want the 8th priming from this particular farm in Jamastran. I may use the 7th priming from a farm in Esteli in Nicaragua. I may use the 6th priming from a farm in Costa Rica. This way, every single cigar is guaranteed to have the same consistency. It's going to have the same tobacco from the same farm, from the same part of the tobacco plant. And you're going to ensure that the flavor characteristic remains consistent in every single cigar. The other thing you get from this tobacco plant is wrapper, binder, and filler. Many people think that wrapper, binder, and filler comes from separate plants. That is not true. This particular plant will deliver all those 3 leaves. You will have in the top third, the middle third, and the bottom third, wrapper, binder, and filler. Wrapper is that particular leaf that is completely clean. After it goes into the curing barn, it's going to get a beautiful brown texture. After fermentation, it's going to be nice and golden, rich, dark brown, much like this Decade cigar. Binder is that particular leaf that may have a few spots on it, like here, okay? So it may have a few spots on it. It's going to go under the wrapper, and that will be binder. If it has holes in the leaf, that particular leaf will be called filler. And there's a big difference because a completely clean leaf that's used for wrapper may cost $20 to $50 a pound. Binder may cost about $9 a pound. Filler, which might have some holes in it, will cost about $5 a pound. So you will have wrapper, binder, and filler from all 3 sections of the plant, or like I said earlier, all the primings. Once they start harvesting the tobacco, and we start harvesting by primings, those primings are color-coded. And you'll see as we go into the curing barn that there are different colored ribbons used. So for example, the first priming may use a yellow ribbon, and then we'll move on to a red ribbon, a blue ribbon. So this ensures that we categorize the leaves right out of the field into the curing and onto the fermentation. So now you've seen the tobacco plant. We're going to take you to the curing barns. So let's go. Okay, we're in the curing barn now, and as you saw on the farm, you saw the truck being loaded with fresh tobacco leaves. These leaves have just been harvested. Second priming, as I pointed out to you in the farm, there's a yellow ribbon. The yellow ribbon classifies the priming so that from the time the tobacco comes to the curing barn to the time the tobacco goes into fermentation, we know that it's the second priming because of the yellow ribbon. The tobacco is classified that way, will stay that way. It will be resorted, retouched to make sure that classification is consistent all the way till that blend is made. So this ensures that every time we make a blend, again, the tobacco comes from the same plant, from the same farm with the same fertilization. Look how quick she is. She's taking the stems of 2 of the tobacco leaves, and she's got a thin sewing needle, and she's kind of making sure that they're both tugged tight and then hung on this bamboo pole that we see here to our right. These poles will eventually be hung throughout the barn. The goal of curing is to take the humidity out throughout the leaf. This is a very important process because if this is not controlled and done properly, you're going to have issues with water stains and other impurities on the leaf. You want to get as much wrapper as possible from the tobacco. In order to get wrapper, the leaf has to be completely clean, perfect golden brown color. This green leaf will eventually start drying out, and you'll get a yellow mutated color and finally settle down to a nice golden brown. First, the small veins will be dried out, and then extreme heat will be applied to dry out the mid-rape. Back in the old days, they used to fire gas heaters horizontally and vertically through the whole barn. They would fire the gas heaters at night to bring up the temperature at a high temperature, and then during the day they would open up the vents on the barns to allow the air passage to move through to work the tobacco. This was done in the old days. The Placencias have now got modern technology involved, and they're getting a lot more wrapper. You're going to see a new system called Calfrista. Under the Calfrista system, there are vent ducts that run through the bottom and top of the barn. They're controlled digitally through temperature, humidity, thermostat to give you the most yield of wrapper. It's an amazing process. We're going to walk you through the Calfrista now. Let's go over and see the wonderful modern technology of curing tobacco. So we just got done looking at the tobacco that was fresh from the farms going in the curing barn. This tobacco has now been here for 13 days. The tobacco is starting to lose its moisture. You can see the veins on the side are starting to release the moisture. Some brown spots have set in. This was wonderful, bright and green. Now it's got that yellow and brown hue to it. Eventually, when all the moisture is gone through the midrib and the side veins, this beautiful leaf will have a nice golden brown color, beautiful oily wrapper. All this tobacco, the way it's actually being cured, is going to be delicious, gorgeous wrapper. So now we're going to go look at tobacco that's 40 days old, and you'll see that this tobacco, after 40 days of curing, is absolutely gorgeous, perfect to use for wrapper.
All right, we're in the wonderful world of the Calfrista now. This is the ultimate curing barn. As you can see, there are ventilation ducts that travel throughout the barn on the bottom and the top, and it allows you to digitally control the temperature and humidity. You can see in the other barns we saw the green leaves, the fresh leaves drying, and now under extreme humidity and temperature, the veins are starting to dry on the leaves, and then the midrib is still left. Once these veins completely dry on the leaf, they'll take the temperature up even higher and the humidity higher to dry the midrib. Eventually, this leaf will be perfectly golden and brown in color, resulting in a gorgeous wrapper. Usually with sun-grown tobacco, you only get about 20 to 25% wrapper. Shade-grown tobacco, which is grown under cheesecloth, blocks out the ultraviolet rays, delivers almost 50-55% wrapper. With this new system of Calfrista, where we can control the temperature and humidity to give a nice even leaf and get more wrapper on the sun-grown tobacco, we're getting almost 55 to 60% wrapper, and on the shade grade, almost 75 to 80% wrapper. And wrapper is something that there's a big shortage of in our industry. Gorgeous leaves, healthy, nice color, even. You don't get any rain spots on them. Beautiful. Look at this beautiful Corojo wrapper. Gorgeous curing, perfect curing here. Calfrista, look at the oils. Even pigmentation, nice oils, even color, beautiful texture. This is what happens when you take time with tobacco. Perfectly controlled climate, temperature and humidity, and time. And end result is this gorgeous golden brown wrapper that's going to go on one of these Ed cigars. I hope I get one.